or a bust. That's fine. But don't do it to Odell. Jarvis Landry as well. But don't do it to Odell. Odell has to leave. Odell is a star. Odell is an enigma. We want to see Odell, while he is in his prime, still go out there and shine. We saw Odell when he was a New York Giant. We knew that Odell was playing with a quarterback that was coming down the hill in Eli Manning. And Odell still was at an NFL historical pace, outpacing Jerry Rice in many categories. And then he met you, Baker Mayfield. And Lord, in the 17 games Odell has had with Baker Mayfield, he has had 3 catches or fewer 6 of those times. The hell? He played 59 games with Eli and only had 3. And then Baker Mayfield's talking about our chemistry has to come naturally. You better force it, because guess what? I know right now that you may be on the balance and the fringes of being great, good, or sorry, but I know I'm great, and you wasted me, so Odell got to go if they're going to be married to Baker.
Man, Marcellus, you know, when you remember that one homeboy, that one homegirl, and everything was going good for them, they were smiling, they was happy, they was thriving, their skin was popping, they was glowing, you know what I'm saying? Hair was long. Blah. Okay, hair was long for me, I don't know about you. But then all of a sudden, Marcellus, they got into a toxic relationship, and you was like, yo, what happened to her? Hey, what happened to him? That's the same thing that's going on with Odell. The whole NFL is like, hey, what happened to him? The Browns have to trade Odell Beckham for a couple reasons. Baker Mayfield, like Marcellus said, he got this ship sinking. It is sinking. I don't know what's going on in Cleveland, but Baker got the ship sinking. And if there is only one life raft, please throw it to the most important person. And I promise that's one thing that Odell Beckham will surely catch. Think about this. Odell Beckham, you could argue, or inarguably, the best receiver in the National Football League. The only reason somebody would push back on that is because statistically, we haven't seen Odell ball for a while. But let me remind y'all, because so many of y'all have recency bias, Odell, 2015, 96 receptions, 1,450 yards, 1,450 and 13 total touchdowns. No active player has hit all those marks.
Bang.
None. Not Julio, not Hopkins, not nobody. Think about what Odell was doing. And I can say this, because 2014, back when I was starting, the rare times I played against Odell. He put up 12 catches, 170, and 2 tugs on us on New Year's Eve. Think about who Odell was playing with. Odell thrived with Eli Manning, and not 2-time Super Bowl MVP Eli Manning.
Right.
The Eli Manning that benched for Geno Smith. When you talk about the greats right now playing the game, Michael Thomas is great, can't guard Mike. He's playing with Drew Brees. You talk about DeAndre Hopkins. He was playing with one of the best players in the generation right now in Deshaun Watson. You talk about the top-tier players, Matty Ice, throwing the ball to Julio Jones. Julio Jones playing with Matt Ryan, an MVP at one point in time. Odell was balling with no help. And since then, since going to Baker, since going to Cleveland, we ain't seen the same Odell. So the Browns need to trade Odell because it's clearly not working. And Odell, man, honestly, I feel sorry for the young cat.
Oh, man. You know, I got to be honest with you guys. I came from a different perspective on this question than you both. You guys are looking at it from the preservation of Odell, and I think that that's respectable. But based upon the report of Cleveland trying to shop him around, I came from the perspective of what's best for the Cleveland Browns. And I say, no, you don't trade Odell Beckham. In fact, when you think about what you're dealing with, if you get rid of Odell Beckham, you trade Odell Beckham, it's still a poor team that Odell Beckham Jr. leaves. So if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm thinking of this in terms of how do I maximize what I have going on with this team? And I'll tell you, you have to bring in somebody else at the quarterback's position, because this is organizational that we're talking about. 2007, think about this. 2007 is the last time the Cleveland Browns had a winning season. All right, they won 10 games in 2007. They haven't been able to beat the 7-game wins mark since then. Think about that. You want to know the last time they were in the playoffs? Think about this. 2002. Marcellus, me and you were still in the league. I don't even know. Were you in middle school, Acho? Where were you at in 2002?
A strong 7th grade.
So,
strong.
This is a bigger issue than Odell Beckham. In fact, it's a bigger issue than Baker Mayfield.
It is a bigger issue. But the problem is there's been a quarterback carousel in there since 1999, and guess what? It won't stop. So if you're going to still keep spinning out of control, at least let Odell eject himself from this situation and save him. I told you I had a friend who went to lifeguard school. I told you this story before. And they told him in lifeguard school, make sure that two people don't drown. That means when you go out there to save them, if they keep fighting and if they going to keep scrapping, okay, one of us ain't gonna go. And that's the situation. Why do both of these careers have to drown? We know Baker's is probably gonna drown. If he doesn't change course and change course fast, it's a wrap for Baker Mayfield in terms of perception. He may play himself out of this later, like a Rich Gannon who had his early issues. But all things considered, it looks like Baker Mayfield is leaning more bust than being the best. Now, you look at Odell, we have historical numbers. I have more numbers. You have a guy who, in his top 32 games, why did I say 32 games? 2 seasons worth of football for Odell. 30 of them were with the Giants. 2 of them with Cleveland, and we done played together for 17 games. Let's talk about yards in the 20s, since that's what he had last week. 3 catches, 22 yards. Ooh, this Odell, 3 catches, 22 yards. He's had 4 of those in the 20s with Cleveland. He had 2 in 59 games with eroding Eli Manning. Look, I'm going to give you the player's perspective. Baker is mental to me. Baker is a guy who comes into the offseason, if it's good, what's up? Chug a beer, talk some noise. If it's a bad one, I'm going to let my actions speak. Until we get close to the season, then he's going to keep talking again, get on the field, and start saying, I need another wake-up call, or I need to have natural chemistry. I love playing defensive line for one reason more than others. It was the fact that I wasn't dependent when I played defensive line. No matter what the play call was, no matter what Acho and LaVar said at linebacker, all I had between me and pay dirt was an offensive lineman. Beat him, I got some money. Even if the quarterback throws the ball, I could get a hit, I could get a hurry, I could get a pressure. I don't always got to get a sack. I can make impact. I remember talking to wide receivers who used to sit there and just be like, they keep calling us divas, but the real issue is I depend on not only a quarterback to be good enough to have a clean pocket, an offensive line to protect him before I can even do my thing. And Odell is not going to be able to do his thing with Baker Mayfield the way that this thing is looking right now.
You know, simply put, the Cleveland Browns should handle this very, very gently and very detailed and intentionally oriented, because if you do Odell Beckham wrong, and this is clearly not playing out the way that it should so far, what other free agents would want to come to Cleveland? I mean, I get it. If you come there, you get a big payday, you'll come. But this team is littered with free agent talent. If you can't fix what I just mentioned to you earlier in the segment as really an organizational failure is what's going on right now. And it's interesting that it falls on the shoulders of its team stars. I was part of something like that. I can empathize with this. It doesn't make any sense to continue to try to figure out if trading Odell Beckham makes this team better. Does it give them a better opportunity to win? The bigger issue here is that it's a culture of failing. It's not a culture. I mean, they went and didn't win one game during the course of the season. They won one game during the course of the season. This is the National Football League. This is the best of the best players, period. And you can only win one game. You couldn't win a game. This is bigger, and to put it on Odell Beckham, we could throw out stats, all kinds of different things. There's no justification other than the fact that you got to figure it out upstairs before it even takes place on the field.
Odell has now become a prisoner of his own success and his own reputation. Odell's walking into Cleveland because of reputation with 2 strikes, and he knows he can't get his 3rd strike in terms of how he demonstrates himself in frustration. Odell has even said this, and he talks about it in quote, he acknowledged he must be careful with his body language during games so it doesn't appear he's pouting. He's like, I have to watch everything I do. Whether it's right or wrong or indifferent, the spotlight's always on me. And he says, I'm not very vocal about the things that happen because people are going to perceive it differently. Like I said, it's the first game, so I'm trying to give patience to this moment. But the reality is, Odell is hot 100. He is so frustrated, but because they're going to use that against him and say, there he goes again, he has to suffer through what Baker Mayfield's going to put him through. And to me, that's unfortunate. Coming up in our big story, speaking of unfortunate, the Clippers loaded for a championship and came up way too short. We'll tell you if it's time for